Welcome back to the shop, friends. We're well on our way to dimensioning this large piece of laminated oak. On the last episode, we flattened the reference face, and today we're going to establish the reference edge. So this piece of stock that we're working on probably weighs up to 30 pounds, and I'm a little hesitant to put that into my vise. I'm afraid of breaking the vise. So I'm just going to put my dogs on the tabletop or the bench top here and put a piece of scrap wood there, and then I can butt the stock up against that and we can plane against that fairly easily. The first thing I like to do is just get an eyeball on what the actual edge looks like. I can tell by just quickly placing my level there and my flat edge or straight edge that there's a dip here and there's a dip at the end, so we're going to need to bring this part down and this part down to meet that area. The next thing I do is I take my jack plane and I just go ahead and try to take off the top surface of the two boards that I've laminated and get those as close to each other as I can. Now you can see with just a few passes of the jack plane that I've got a low spot here. I'm fairly flat here from side to side. I've got another low spot here, and then I'm fairly flat from side to side here. So the next step will be just to bring down the entire edge until I'm hitting all the areas with the plane. After a few more passes, you can tell that there's only a few spots that I haven't hit with the plane so far. And that would be here and here. So I'm going to take the jack plane and run down the edge a few more times, and then I'll start working with the joiner plane. like I'm getting pretty close to flat. I've only got a small spot here and here. That's the plane iron still hasn't hit. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the joiner plane and make a few passes, and then I'll check and see how close we are. Okay, we've made a few passes with the joiner plane, so let's take a look using our straight edge here and see how close we are from lengthwise. I can see a little bit of light coming through underneath the level here, and the ends look pretty good. So a few more passes with the joiner plane and we should be pretty straight. I can tell by the sound now that I'm making contact with the planer iron all the way down. As we take a look at the board, I can see that we've made contact all the way along the length of the board. There's one spot that we haven't, but that won't matter. Okay, we'll double check our work with our straight edge again. And we are dead flat all the way across. The next step in creating a reference edge is to ensure that our reference edge is 90 degrees to our reference face. So we will use our Swanson right angle here and walk our way down and see. I can see by placing the straight edge here against the reference face that we're high on this side, so you can see light underneath this end. So we need to bring this end down. So I'm going to continue to walk my way down and see if we're consistent all the way down. And we are. We're high on this edge all the way down. So next I'm going to take my joiner's plane and focus on this edge of our reference edge. So now I'll go back and I'll recheck. And I can tell there's still light coming underneath at this point, so we're still high here. And I'll walk my way down. And it's much improved, but we're still high on this side here. It gets a little worse the farther down we go. So I'll focus a little bit more on this end and on this edge for a few more passes with the joiner's plane. Okay, now we'll recheck again. I think you can see there that we have no light showing through underneath the Swanson square there. So now we will just walk our way down and continue to check. I can tell this end we're just slightly high still on this edge. As you can see, a little bit of light coming through right there. So I'll take my joiner's plane and work on this end just a little bit more. Now I'll recheck and see. We're still high, only in this area here. So what I'm going to do, because I'm only high in this area here, I'm just going to take my smoothing plane and just work on this area just for a few passes and then recheck. Still high on this edge here. So it's perfect from here down, and this edge still needs to be worked down some. And that's just about perfect all the way down. Now that I know I have a 90-degree angle all the way down, I like to go back with my straight edge and assure we haven't created any rounding of our edge there. I'm not sure if you can tell on the camera, but it's very, very close from end to end. So I'm happy with that. As before, we will go ahead and mark our reference edge. Well, there you go, guys. We're well on our way to creating a perfectly flat and square piece of lumber using only hand tools. On the next episode, we'll go through how to flatten the back and the opposing edge perfectly square with our reference edge and face. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.